Getting your MBA costs around $200,000 all in. And so it's a pretty big investment, especially if you're paying everything out of pocket. And when the MBA kind of experience starts, it's a pretty crazy beginning because you're meeting so many people and you have so many events to go to. And so I feel like over these next few weeks, right now I'm currently on a break, but I feel like for the next few months or so when I start my MBA experience, it's going to be pretty hectic and there's not going to be a lot of time for self-reflection and thinking about what I really want to get out of this experience. And so that's kind of the purpose of today's video. I want to go over the 5 things I really want to get out of my MBA experience. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know that I've already posted some videos about my MBA experience so far. And so this may be a little bit confusing, but let me help clarify. Right now, I'm pursuing a dual degree at Penn through something called the Lauder program. And so I'm getting both a master's in international studies and an MBA in 2 years. And so while most MBA programs start in the fall, my program actually started earlier this past June. And so over the past few months, I've been working on some aspects of my master's in international studies. And that involved me being in Korea and taking some additional courses over the summer. And so right now, part of my summer program has ended. And so I have a 2-week break that I'm currently on. And then my MBA part, like the real MBA in a sense, starts in a few weeks. Anyway, the point is that I have 2 weeks or so to just relax and reflect. And so let's go into the 5 things I want to get out of my MBA experience. But before that, I wanted to give a brief shout out to our sponsor for today's video, Wealthfront, for helping make this video possible. All right, now starting off with goal number 1, it's actually my highest priority, but it's not solely focused on school, and that is to grow Rare Liquid into a $1 million per year annual revenue run rate business. In case you didn't know, I actually first started YouTube on a separate channel called Rare Liquid, which focuses on investing content. And that channel plus this one, Rare Liquid Careers, the one you're watching right now, combined, it brings in about $30,000 in revenue per month. So that puts us at a $360,000 annual revenue run rate. And my goal is to basically go from $360K to $1 million run rate per year. That goal is by the time I graduate, which would be about 2 years from now. And so that would mean I have to grow my monthly revenue from somewhere around $30K a month to $80K a month, a little over that. And if I'm able to do that while managing my entire MBA experience, which means I do have to sacrifice a lot of time to studying and building relationships with my classmates and all of that. But if I am able to grow from $30K to a little over $80K per month, I would see that as a huge success. And that would be it is a really big goal of mine to be able to grow this business to that level. 1 million is a bit of an arbitrary number. By itself doesn't really mean anything, but that's just kind of the goal that I have. Right now, I earn revenue through YouTube AdSense, Patreon, and some guides I've created for how to get into investment banking. But about 70% of my revenue comes from sponsorships and affiliates. And that's obviously like a third party that I'm reliant on, which is not really great for business because, what if there's like a huge economic downturn and all these companies that I work with have to temporarily pull their marketing budgets, right? Then that would be pretty devastating to Rare Liquid and my business overall. And it's not just me. I have partners and teammates that I work with and that I need to pay. And so there are expenses to the business that I will need to cover. And so my goal over the next 1 to 2 years is to build out a separate kind of business line, which will focus on courses. And right now I have 3 courses I'm working on, one for how to get into MBA programs, one for how to get into banking, and another for how to research crypto. And with these 3 courses, my goal is for them to bring in about anywhere from 30 to 50K in terms of revenue per month. And that's a huge way that I'm hoping to get to my goal of 80K monthly revenue and hopefully surpass it if everything kind of works out well. But it's a lot of work to build out these courses and business divisions. And so I'm hoping that I am going to be able to manage school and building out everything and, optimizing our websites, just building our kind of like, I basically call it my Rare Liquid Careers line. And this channel is also part of that. And so a business line, I mean. And so, yeah, that's one of my huge goals is to build out these courses. If all of this goes well, then one of my side goals / side missions is to graduate from my MBA program debt-free, because for my first year, I am taking out a pretty big loan. And I'll make a video more about what I plan to do with Rare Liquid and how I plan to grow out this business and give you actual numbers. I'll make a video about this in the future. In order to hit that goal of graduating debt-free, it's not going to be only important to grow my business, it's also going to be important to manage my money well. And throughout these next 2 years, one tool that I'm really planning to use a lot is Wealthfront's cash account, which is currently offering a 2% annual yield, which is pretty crazy given that it's 20 times more than the national average of 0.1%. And if that wasn't good enough, if you ever want to invest with Wealthfront, you can move your money into their award-winning investment account in minutes to help grow your money even more for the long term. As you can see from this demo account, Wealthfront's interface is super clean and user-friendly. And as you can see here, it shows you how much you're earning each month. The cash account can be used to pay off bills, and there are also 19,000 ATMs in the US that you can withdraw money from for free, just like a checking account. I usually keep my money in my Chase checking account, but over these next 2 years, I'm gonna mostly keep my cash with Wealthfront with this cash account because Chase doesn't offer any yield. And so why have my cash just sit around there doing nothing when I could earn 2% per year? All money kept with Wealthfront is FDIC insured through partner banks, which means your money is super safe and you can get started with as little as $1 and there are $0 in setup fees. In my opinion, everyone should be holding some cash right now given the uncertainty with the markets and the economy. And so if you're interested in Wealthfront's cash account, feel free to check them out using my link down in the description below. All right, now going back into my goals and what I want to get out of my MBA experience, I would say the second one that I have is kind of my second most ambitious one, which is to build out 2 businesses with my classmates. Actually, I'm already kind of halfway there because I am building out the How to Get into MBA course with 2 of my classmates at Penn, but I do want to build out one more. I don't exactly know what the idea or business is going to be yet, but I've kind of realized something about myself as I've been working on entrepreneurial endeavors over the past 4 years that I come up with a lot of different business ideas. And being at Penn over the past 2 months, I've already met some really talented, interesting people who have really strong work ethics. And so there's this really strong talent pool at Wharton. And it's not easy to actually find people who are just like good to work with. I think in general, finding good people to work with is just one of the toughest things in business overall. And so while I did have this opportunity to kind of like pitch ideas and think of new ones with all these like talented people around me, I'm hoping to think of at least one more business idea and work with someone, some classmates in order to build that next business. My third goal is actually something more that's just a nice to have if I'm able to make the time for it, and that is to explore the venture capital industry. I came into the MBA experience actually not really focused on recruiting for anything or exploring other career opportunities because I already have rareliquid going on and it takes up so much time. But I actually, upon some reflection, thought that it kind of would be a waste of an opportunity not to just kind of explore the different industries that I potentially may be interested in the future. And venture capital is one of them. And it may not be that I necessarily join a VC firm, but maybe it is something that where I want to kind of add to rareliquid and have like a venture capital arm. And so I thought it would be important to just take the chance to grow up my VC network and maybe do an in-semester internship, join a VC club, or there's also something called the Dorm Room Fund, which I learned about recently, where students actually invest in companies. And then also maybe reach out to venture capital investors to see if anyone in the content creator space or content creation space would be interested in having someone with my background on their team for like a summer internship or an in-semester internship. So that's kind of one of the nice to have goals, kind of if I can make the time for it. And we'll see how that goes over the next 1 to 2 years. The fourth thing I'm hoping to gain out of my MBA experience is something that I honestly think almost everyone wants from their MBA experience, which is to just form really solid friendships. And I would say that for Wharton, since there's 800 per class, there's a ton of people and you can't be friends with everyone or even know everybody. And so my goal is to really graduate with 5 to 15 really solid friendships. And if I think about like my high school experience, for example, I had like 400 people in my class, but now I only really speak to around 10 of them. And then for college, I think there was like 8,000 per year at Berkeley. And now I only speak with about like 5 to 10 of those friends on more of like a regular basis as well. And so my goal is to really just have like 5 to 15 or so really solid friendships. That would be a huge success. And I think, when I watch this video in 2 years when I graduate, it'll be really interesting to watch this and then think about like who my friends are and what we've gone through to get to the point that we're at when we graduate. Another aspect I would add with this goal is that, to be quite honest, I hang out with a lot of Asian people like almost all the time in high school and college. And when I got to college, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna like branch out a little more, but then I didn't really do that. In MBA, I'm most likely going to mostly have Asian friends. Like it's just something that I'm like comfortable with. But I am hoping to broaden my friendship circles in a sense and just like meet people from different perspectives. And I think the dual degree program that I'm in right now is going to help a lot with that. But that is kind of like a goal of mine as well, to like step out of my comfort zone some more and make friends that are in like different circles. The last goal I have on my list is gonna sound a little bit weird, but it's really just to learn something really important about life. Now, this is kind of a vague goal, but let me explain what I mean. So I kind of just look at my life and see a lot of phases or periods. So for example, in high school, I kind of learned how to have a really solid group of friends because that's when I really found like I found a solid support network. And then in college, I learned kind of honestly to just how to have fun and not really take myself too seriously. And then I went into banking where I kind of learned how to be professional and work really well and work well with others and just how to be a good worker in a sense. And then I did that for 3 years or so. And then over the past 4 years, I've been working on just being an entrepreneur. And that was a lot of development in just being okay with uncertainty and learning how to build a business from the ground up. Now, of course, all these different periods in my life have a lot more nuance, and it's not as simple as breaking down those entire periods into just like these simple kind of lessons. But I do think that each period was kind of distinct in their own way of giving me something that really added more to my life in a certain way and taught me something. And I don't know exactly what it's going to be for MBA, but I do hope that I leave this experience not just thinking like, oh, I had 2 really fun years of like drinking all the time and like making friends or whatever. Like not only that, but I want to kind of change my perspective in some kind of way and really be able to look at this past experience and think that I really learned something new about life that I couldn't have really gotten without this MBA experience. Now, this doesn't mean I'm gonna try to like force myself to learn something. I'm gonna just let everything happen naturally, make my decisions a little bit more day by day, but I think it'll be interesting when I graduate and can reflect upon this video, kind of really think about what it is that I really learned from this MBA experience just kind of overall. And maybe there's gonna be too many lessons to count, or maybe there will be one distinct one, but hopefully 2 years from now when I graduate, I can make a follow-up video on this, kind of react to it and give you guys or share with you guys what lesson or lessons that I learned. I'll actually be sharing a lot of the lessons I learned on my Instagram and TikTok in more real time because it's kind of easier to make short form content and update you guys more regularly on there. So feel free to check them out if you're interested. And I also wanted to give a shout out again to our sponsor for today's video, Wealthfront. If you have cash and you're just letting it sit in your checking account, not growing it at all, why not put it into a cash account with Wealthfront and grow it by 2% per year? And lastly, if you're interested in getting into MBA programs, I am giving a huge discount for people who sign up early. So feel free to check out my link to sign up in my description below. And with that said, thank you all so much for watching. Hope to catch you all in the next video. Thanks so much and peace out.